What ages a person really quickly? Grief. My baby died and I've aged about 6 years and 5 months. I used to get compliments on my skin from strangers. I haven't had one since. I have forehead lines I never had before. I have dark circles under my eyes and I never had those before. Grief absolutely ages you. I look haunted. My 18-month-old daughter died on New Year's Eve. I look years older less than 3 weeks later. I'm so fucking angry that happened. Angry for you and angry for her. Neither of you deserve that. If you ever want or need to talk about her, feel free to message me. No one wants to talk about my baby and kills me. Absolutely guts me and makes me feel so alone. If you want to talk about her, I will. If it gives you any solace, a complete stranger who will never know you, a tear has been shed for your baby. I can't even imagine. I hope I will never have to. I look at photos from 3 years ago and don't recognize myself. Something about me died when my brother did. Stress. My dad's a doctor, and he swears that the reason why people with Down syndrome look so young older is because they don't experience stress anywhere near the levels out neurotypical people do. I think it's also that they have faces with traits that we associate with small children. Round face, often a little pudgy looking, big smiles, eye shape, small ears. They lack muscle tone, which is why their faces look young. My nephew certainly experiences stress from bullying. Is it true that enough stress can turn your hair white? I developed a gray streak in several weeks after losing a close friend very tragically. I'm a 40-year-old woman, and I don't smoke, but my best friend has been smoking since she was 14. It really breaks my heart to see how it's affected her appearance over the years. Even though we're the same age, she often looks older than me, and I can't help but think that smoking is a big part of that. Her skin doesn't have that youthful glow anymore, and she has more wrinkles than most of our friends. It's really tough to watch someone I care about age so quickly because of a habit that's so harmful. I feel like smoking has taken away her energy and vibrancy, making her look so tired all the time. I worry about her health too. It's hard to see her not realize how beautiful she is without the cigarettes. I just wish she would think about quitting. I believe it could really help her both inside and out. I hope one day she'll see how much better she could feel and look without smoking. It's such a tough situation, and I just want the best for her. Why'd I have to scroll so far to see smoking? Hopefully because a lot less people are smoking than before. Meth. Don't do meth. I've seen 25-year-old meth addicts who look older than my 94-year-old grandmother. I remember when that shit first came into North Carolina, or at least around that time. Nobody knew what it was and people were calling it crank. A lifelong friend introduced me to it one night at his place. We were still kids. I and most our friends were risk takers to varying degrees, him being the riskiest by far. We still kept in contact after that night, but it was only when I visited my parents. About 2 years later I got a call from his mom telling me he'd been in an accident, and where the funeral service would be. She was broken at losing her youngest. It drove his dad mad with sadness, and the man drank himself into a grave within 3 years. He spent most nights at the gravesite on his property. Meth is a nightmare. It ruins people and their families. I've known plenty of people on meth, and it's crazy how they can use it for like 5 years with no visible effects, and then all of a sudden they age 10 years in the span of a few months. Probably a combination of things, but I always picture it as 1. Just a casual user, has a job. 2. Hoopsie's got hardcore hooked, lost job, lives on it. I have noticed the same, it's almost overnight. Poverty. Absolutely. The stress, lack of sleep, strenuous jobs for low pay, not able to afford good hygiene products, skin care, hair care, can't afford good makeup, which can cause bad skin, and poor diet. Don't forget lack of quality health care, at least in the US. 100% nothing like being deathly ill and getting through it with store-brand ibuprofen and hoping you don't die. The sun. Alcohol. My wife has been using sunscreen since she was like 5 years old when her mom told her to consistently use it when going outside. Her skin is insane, no blemishes, no marks, perfect. On the other hand, last year I burned my shoulders so bad it hurt to raise my arms above my head to wash my hair. As a 34 while. I think my time, sunbathing, is far over. Thank you for saying this. I am a licensed esthetician. People ask me for Holy Grail products and are often surprised when I say truthfully, there is no one Holy Grail product and everyone's needs are different. But the key is usually a consistent home care routine and sunscreen. If I could underline the word, I would. Wear it, even if it's cloudy. I'm 59. We grew up laying out on tar rooftops with baby oil and foil. Sometime in my 40s, maybe mid, I started avoiding the sun with hat and covering up. In the last couple of years, I've added daily sunscreen to my routine. My skin is not perfect by any means, but up close and personal, I can tell that it's better than women I know who are 10 years younger. I had a nurse basically question whether I was being truthful when I said I'd had no treatments, Botox or fillers. My point is that even if someone didn't start young, start now. It will make a difference. Caregiving. Can't believe isn't upvoted a lot more when my mom and I were caregiving for my gran. It combines so many of the other answers: sleep deprivation, stress, emotional mental breakdown, anxiety, neglect of self, nutrition, depression, and grief if you're caring for someone terminal, and possible substance abuse and financial ruin, and social isolation. I'm looking back on that time only just now realizing how it absolutely destroyed us for a while. Nobody cares for the caregiver. Not in a mean way or anything. Everybody's focus is on the person who's sick. It can be really tough for a caregiver, especially if they are doing it alone. Chronic pain. As someone who has had crippling arthritis for over 20 years, inflammation and pain are horrendous for you. Kids. Also, special needs kids love mine to bits, but I don't think I've slept more than a few hours straight, minus being sick myself, in almost 12 years. Parents of special needs kids are an entirely different level of ongoing responsibility and stress. I have a great deal of respect for people like you that take it with a positive attitude. Thank you for being a good human. Thanks, it's rough and I've definitely stumbled. Add on the fact I'm a single parent with no co-parent. He's not MIA but pretends said child doesn't exist. But man, when we have those wins, it's all worth it. Like today, we went to an event I was expecting to stay 5 minutes at, and we were able to stay the full 4 hours with only about 5 minutes of issue near the end. It was so awesome. The kiddo is happy, mostly, and healthy and loving. Kiddo is in a special needs school, and I realize often that it could be so much harder, and I'm very lucky in a lot of ways, and that keeps me going. As does caffeine, an absurd amount of caffeine. People say, don't have children if you aren't prepared to have a disabled child, so I got sterilized. Couldn't hang. I am way too chronically ill myself. Scroll down for this. Friends without kids look 20 years younger than those with kids. Loneliness, stress, depression. Loneliness has been stressful and always given me depression. I've never feel like I've had someone who genuinely cared for me or fully understood me. I've never been loved and taken care of. I don't even know how it feels to have a person who is there for you, cares about you, acknowledges and supports you, motivates you, and is genuinely happy about the love you give back to them. If life has chosen to be this, so be it, because I've tried to change reality, and yet feel trapped here within this body. Toxic relationship. I was a ghost of my normal self at the end of my last relationship. Underweight and my skin looked gray and my eyes almost looked sunken. Never again. Sleep deprivation. Yes, this one is 100% my failure. My talker fails when I've FD up my sleep. Takes me months to be able to speak normally again. I lose words. I can picture most of the word but can't find its way to my mouth. I have a stutter that shows up when I haven't slept well. Then I start having intestinal failures that take more months to heal up. I'm going to go outside of how most are answering here and not focus on physical aging. Trauma mentally ages you beyond a reasonable amount. All it takes sometimes is one traumatic event and you go from being trusting, happy, full of life, and hopeful to jaded beyond your years and a shell of yourself, not to mention quite hopeless and or quiet depending on the event. Worrying about things that are not in your control. No sense of humor. My dad is 49 but acts like he's 79. He doesn't find anything funny or takes issue with most things. My mom is 52 but loves having a good time and joking around. People think that she's younger than she is because of this. Hate and anger. Cancer. Heavy fillers and Botox on the face. Crazy how some people in their 20s get some plastic surgery which turns their face into a 40 years old. War. Sedentary lifestyle. A stressful job. Like being president. I'm fascinated by those before and after photos of presidents. It's striking how much they age in 4 years. Night shift. Dehydration. I look so bad after being dehydrated from meds for a while. What ages a person really quickly? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.